President Trump lands in El Paso tonight to rally support for his ongoing fight with Congress over the border wall. But some anti-immigration hardliners aren't waiting to see how that battle plays out. Steve Bannon was the political mastermind behind Donald Trump's unlikely rise to the presidency.
Right here.
Yeah. These days, he's headlining yet another far-fetched campaign, raising support at an Arizona retirement community to build a private border wall. You excited for tonight?
Yeah. Everybody says all the guys are ready to go.
He invited us to witness the next chapter in one of the strangest and most significant careers in American political history.
See ya. You guys make introductions, you get introduced, you do like 5 minutes, etc., right? I did this kind of as a volunteer. I mean, are you going to raise, $2 billion to actually complete the physical barrier? I think the answer to that's probably no.
The whole idea started with this guy, Ryan Kolfage, a triple amputee Iraq vet who created a GoFundMe page back in December to crowdfund a border wall. It's a pretty audacious concept.
I was angry. It was 10 days before Christmas, and I was seeing where the rhetoric was going. No one was talking about border security. Creating this was an idea of making people aware of what's going on, of the bigger issue, as well as, supporting something I believed in, which was a wall and security and immigration.
When did Steve Bannon get in touch with you?
Days after it.
Really?
Yeah. It just, once it started hitting, jumping millions and millions and millions a day.
So far, the project has raised more than $20 million from small donors, with plans to break ground in a couple of months. And it's become a favorite cause of a supergroup of out-of-office America Firsters, led by Bannon.
We're building it to all the specs. The Israeli company that built the wall in Israel is going to be our advisor here. We're building everything to spec. If we do the hempcrete, that'll be in an experimental part. We'll say, hey, we're going to do the hempcrete, and we're going to convince you that this should be part of the. Don't laugh at the. I'm obsessed with the hempcrete.
You heard that right. Hempcrete, a concrete-like construction material made from the newly legal hemp plant, pot's non-psychoactive cousin. You love hemp.
There's got to be innovation in the wall. We're not sitting there saying, hey, just a concrete wall or just a steel barrier. It has to be advanced technology.
The hemp is sort of like the cherry on the top of the press release that we have, like Sheriff Clark, we got Bannon.
Original gangsters.
Yeah, we got the OGs. The MAGA OGs are coming together like Voltron, and they're going to use hemp. To me, it feels like a stunt. In the way that the media works, you have been so successful at taking things that people think are absurd and making them happen in real life. Trump presidency. So
But you see, that's the point. It's not absurd. Is that there's an underlying look.
Well, a lot of people think the wall is absurd because it's a political totem, not a functional national security item.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's become.
Of course, you don't think that's the case, but a lot of people do.
I think it's become so politicized. There's no doubt where you're seeing a physical barrier. And a real physical barrier. You've had no. What are you? Oh, you're saying it's 16. Yeah.
Which way we're gonna go?
The reason Trump won the Republican primary was that nobody wanted to focus on either mass illegal immigration or legal immigration as suppressing wages, right, to kind of flood the zone with workers, and trade deals as unfair competition with foreign labor. The whole thing was about workers and wages. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think if you connect them, it's a very powerful narrative.
We have the former Secretary of State of Kansas, Chris Kopach. How you doing, Chris? My old boss, Stephen Kay. How you doing, sir?
Bannon and company preached their populist message to a country club choir of white, mostly older Americans who seemed ready to open their wallets.
Walk me through why this is just not a glorified stunt. Why this is just not, some pipe dream.
I feel deeply invested to this country. I lost my limbs for this nation. It's not a stunt.
This is a true crisis. It is a crisis. American lives are being lost. American jobs are being lost. Drugs, deaths, terrorism coming through. We've got to move forward. I think the president gets it. He wants to move forward.
For a lot of people, this comes down to a very simple idea that there's race and racism behind the policies that the Trump administration instituted, that got Trump elected, and that now with, Wall 2.0.
The number one beneficiary of the policies of President Trump, his economic policies and everything he's laid out, is African American and Hispanic.
What about the rising hate crimes that have happened around the country? What about bullying that's happening in schools? Like there is a tenure that is different.
No. By the way, the left is just as bad. If we want to help the minority communities in this country, we have to restrict the labor pool. People coming up from Central America, this is a tragedy of biblical proportion. Nobody's saying, look, it's horrible then. I was one of the ones in the White House advocating having a 5 nations summit in McAllen to deal with the Northern Triangle countries.
But you were also there in the White House when the child separation policy?
I believe 100% in the child separation policy. It's zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance.
I think it's the most humanitarian because—
And it's now known, DHS is saying that even more children were separated prior to when the zero tolerance policy was announced.
That's correct. But listen.
But that's what people are dude, this is
but here's what all you're doing.
Humanitarian disaster that we're perpetuating.
But that humanitarian disaster is what happens in getting the cartels. This is incentive.
So why is one humanitarian disaster a way of dealing with another?
Only zero tolerance will stop that. I realize it's a tough policy.
So the president's going to be in El Paso. What do you think is going to happen there?
I think he's going to, once again, I think he's within a couple of days of having to make a decision. I think there's zero chance they shut down the government.
Really?
Zero chance. I don't think the government's not going to get shut down again.
Sure.
I think he's going to make a case one more time about a national emergency. And I think he may even try to soft sell something short of an actual wall.
He's going to walk back a little bit.
Well, listen, I think myself and a lot of the hardcore Trump movement, I think it will be a walk back. This, to us, is pretty black and white.
Yeah.
You're committed to build a wall. You've got to build a wall. 2019 is going to be the nastiest year in American politics, I think, since before the Civil War.
And you're not even backing a candidate.
Well, Trump is my guy. I'm a right-wing populist. I'm proud of it.